Hi everyone, I'm Annabelle. I'm a clinical psychologist at Annabelle Psychology and Annabelle Kids. I'm also a mother of two boys. They are 7 and 5, and so I'm a newly minted primary one mummy. And today we have Jeanette all the way from Korea. Hi Jeanette, thank you for coming on. Please tell us something about yourself.
Hi Annabelle. So firstly, thank you so much for having me here, and it's an honor because I haven't really sort of share my story in detail. So my name is Jeanette, and I have been living in Korea for this is my 5th year in Korea, and I recently last year gave birth to my first son, and his name is Ruel, and he's about 4 months old now. I am doing full-time content creation right now, so YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, you name it, there is.
Oh my gosh, that sounds really full on when I hear you describe that because you are living alone in Korea without kind of extended family, I gather. Then you're there with your husband and your 4-month-old child. How has that been for you?
I would say it has been kind of hectic, but not in a sense that it sort of throws me off my schedule because previously when I remember when I was pregnant, it was very chill. Like I really had a lot of time to rest. And I think after he's born, I felt a little bit more, how do I say, motivation to actually create content. My husband is also a content creator, so he's at home to help me also. So I'm not always alone at home handling him. So even as I'm doing this call, he's the one handling Ruel. So we kind of take turns. But so far it's been okay lah. It's not that bad.
It's been okay. Okay, I'm really happy to hear that. But as a newly minted mom with Royal being 4 months, I'm just thinking like how much sleep are you having, because you need to have enough rest to have that space for your creative juices to set in, for ideas to come in as well. And so you were saying being organized and getting into a routine has been really helpful. I
Yeah.
find that to be very helpful as well. I actually think that parenting, right, is like a team sport.
Mm,
Exactly like what you said, right? Like now you're on the call and then your husband is helping with
right.
Ruel. It's how well you play in a team. But I also think, all our like hyper organizational skills and our multitasking skills kind of set in to support this process.
Correct, correct. I also think so. It really
Yeah.
helped a lot lah along the way. I mean, there's some stuff I never thought I could do. Like I was never a morning person. I really, really can sleep until like 12 o'clock. But now my husband feels it's very amusing to see me awake at 7 and 8 even when Ruel is awake. So but I don't feel like it's very tiring. I don't know. I guess it's just a part and parcel of motherhood. Like sometimes it's tiring, but then you just get through it lah.
Can I ask, has there been like specific difficulties or like if you think about your experience so far from pregnancy, actually even from the move, right? It's quite different in terms of culture and the support that you have.
At that point of time, I wasn't really exposed to the culture yet, apart from what we see on the TV and on the internet and stuff. So I was kind of okay with Korean culture. However, after moving here, I can see that actually there is a big difference in culture in terms of what we go through in Singapore and what we go through in Korea. I think it's only because Singapore is more of different from Korea. Here it's like one race, right? And we are multiracial. So in that sense, the acceptance of difference is different also.
Yeah.
Then I think that's one of the struggle that I had. And then also, even because I came here and I studied, the school system and that I know of is also very different here. So it was another struggle that I had. This is all on top of language struggle, yeah. Cause I also not very very fluent in Korean, I would say. Cause my husband speaks English, we still speak English together.
Yeah.
So that's one of the other struggles I had. Then I got married in between my master's program. So about 1 year in, we got married. And then after that, when I was about to graduate, we were kind of planned for a family when I finished my thesis. Very sadly, 2023 in 2023 May, we sort of found out we were pregnant, but after a few weeks, we sort of experienced a miscarriage lah. So I think that was probably the life-changing moment in my life, in a sense that I always hear about it, but I never ever imagined can be something that happened to me. It was very hard to face the fact that I had to go through it, but it's not under my control. Then at that time, because I was in Korea, I remember going to the hospital and stuff and not being able to ask questions, not being able to explain what happened. So I had to like search a lot online and things like that. And of course, for my husband, it's his first time also. So it's like we were both very lost, but I was very lost. And I also cannot talk to anyone because I think I was at a point where I cannot come to terms with it also. So if I have to bring it out myself, it makes me like remember it again. So I think I sort of kept quiet like along the way, but at the same time I still had to content create. So it was a very, very tough year for me in 2023. After that year, I was just believing, 2024 will be a great year and stuff like that. And lo and behold, very, very thankfully, I conceived in February 2024, and that's when Ruel was born last year, November. So I think along the way, there are a lot of difficulties here and there, but I think it's about like learning how to overcome it, I guess. I mean, I feel like for me being here until today, even though I'm the 5th year here, it's still a bit difficult to come face to face with the culture here. I don't think I'm the only one. I don't know if I can be a voice for the foreigners here, but a lot of my friends, be it you're Singaporean or not, still struggle a lot living in Korea.
It sounds to me that like I work a lot with women who have fertility difficulties or had experienced miscarriages, and that experience itself is already very difficult, and a lot of times we lean on our family or our closest friends for that support, which I imagine would have been a little bit compromised. And what also struck me is when you needed to go to the hospital or when you needed to seek information because you're not familiar with that setup and the language is a struggle. So I imagine that would have been really isolating and difficult to make sense of or even seek any kind of support. But what is really quite impressive about you is your resilience and your personality, right? And I think that's a really important point, right? I think there's a lot of times, even in Singapore, I mean, even if we have family members here, sometimes we don't have good relationships with family members, or sometimes the family members are the one who give us stress. But there are a lot of all these things that are not within our control. But what's within our locus of control is how we think about it and how we react towards it. And it seemed like you just took on come up May one step at a time, and it sounded like that was helpful for you, right?
Yes. I think it helped me a lot because I mean, of course, I did have my very down moments when it happened, like not being able to come to terms with it. And of course, with every, like, I'm not sure if people who hear this who went through a miscarriage will resonate with me, but after the miscarriage, of course, you will keep wanting to try again, right? So every month became a disappointment upon another disappointment. So I think that honestly did cause like a gap in our marriage, I would say. But of course, my husband was very understanding in the sense that he tried to like go through it with me, even though he also don't understand. I think it's a bit different for men and women. But for me, my sort of comfort came from actually social media, because I wasn't able to sort of reach out to anyone because I didn't want to remind myself about it. But there is actually a lot of encouraging lines and encouraging like posts online that sort of tell you to keep hoping for like your rainbow baby and things like that. I think in that isolation, that sort of helped me to keep going as well, because I mean, I had to content create. So one part of content creation is to watch other people's content as well, so that you can sort of get ideas and stuff. And because I was constantly on my phone, I could sort of like reach out to this kind of content, which makes me feel less lonely. And I think that's the reason why when I felt it was time, I really wanted to share about my experience as well, because I believe that there's going to be people who will find comfort through it. Yeah, and of course, to give a hope to someone that, you know, you're not alone, and even though we are content creators, it doesn't mean that our life is perfect. You know, everybody also struggles somehow in their life, and I feel that that's what kept me going. I think to be able to, you know, live out a story for people to sort of empathize with lah.
I really respect that, Jeanette. I think that, you know, what I'm hearing is very appropriate self-care. Like, you know, when you are not ready to share and when you are ready to share. And then also there's the courage in sharing. But also, I think you are super resourceful. I think that is really going to work well for you living in a different environment, right? because you know that even though you don't really have your closest friends and family at your disposal there, but actually social media or online, healthy online communities can be a really helpful resource as well. And then you tapped into that. And when you're ready, then you also hope to be somebody else's resource. Yeah. Ruel is 4 months. How has that been? Is he sleeping well? How are you?
I would say actually, I mean, I don't know if it's just me that go through it, but from what I hear from the older adults, like really like give birth already and their kids are old, they will say like, oh, you know, Ruel is a very nice kid. He's very, very like calm, very, very like nice to mommy and daddy and stuff like that. And I think the more I hear it, I feel like, yeah, maybe he's really nice. I don't know if it's been brainwashing or something like that, but everybody say he's very, very calm. So what happened is, I think he does sleep a bit more than other babies, about 3 to 4 hour stretches for 4 months old. But of course, still I do have to wake up. But I think Ruel has been really kind to me because he literally just he don't even open his eyes. He just drink, then he feeds for about 10 minutes, and then literally he just go back to sleep. So I don't stay awake for anything longer than 15 to 20 minutes, which is quite manageable on my part. And I think the other part of it is because our work is from home. I don't have like I need to wake up at 7, I need to go to work. So if I sleep until 10, it's fine.
I'm super happy for you that Ruel is sleeping 4 hours and he's up 15 to 20 minutes. I never had that experience across 2 of my babies. But I will also tell you, it's a stage thing.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people say,
Yes.
wait till.
Right. I think the thing about parenthood is take what we have, right? Like really in the moment, if at this moment he's sleeping better, I'll take it. And then at another moment, when he's not, then it will pass. I actually have one of my favorite stories to share about parenthood, about early mommy days and how my experience was. None of my babies sleep through the night, okay? Like I have this very clear memory of me with my second child in the living room because my first child and daddy was sleeping in the bedroom, and I was trying to pet him to sleep. He was in the carrier, I was singing, I had the song on my phone, I was trying to feed him. He has eczema as well, so it was harder to soothe with all the itching and everything. It was 4 a.m. and I looked out of this window and I was thinking, basket, why are all these people jogging at 4 a.m. in the morning? Like 4 a.m. I want to sleep. My baby's not sleeping and I'm so tired, and I felt really quite isolated and quite depressed, very alone, and I felt like I just need to sleep and I will be better. But my core needs of sleeping and like basic hygiene and like pain and exhaustion, all that not in place, right? Then here, these people are running at 4 o'clock. So I oftentimes think back to that moment, and actually, while that moment was very difficult, I think my learning point is that moment will also come and go so quickly. Like the nights are very long, but the years are really short. And suddenly now my child is 5. And I think kind of a bit of that approach actually helps to orientate ourselves and kind of readjust, like regulate our feelings.
I agree.
I mean, I felt very isolated, even though I live in Singapore, even though my family is here. I can't even begin to imagine how it would be for you in Korea.
Yeah, I think that the support system is very, very important in a sense. And I know that I have a very strong support system also. But I felt like I didn't want to hear something that I didn't want to hear also in that sense. That's the reason why I didn't share. But there's different coping mechanism for different people lah, I guess. So at the end of the day, I think motherhood, yes, it might be a very lonely journey and isolating journey. But I guess going through miscarriage really helps me to see the importance of pregnancy and having this kid with me right now, because it was a whole year of like misery for me. It was really, really tough that year. So I think because it's so fresh in my mind still, every time I see Ruel, even though I'm tired, I feel I'm thankful that I still can go through. Yeah, I can have this moment with me. I guess it really gives you a different perspective of what life is and what can actually happen to me tomorrow, kind of thing. Like I cannot even tell myself that, if I were to have another kid, I won't have miscarriage. I cannot guarantee that for myself anymore. So I just, take it in my stride and, take day by day. I guess that's what kept me going.
think it's when we experience a crisis like that, it's a very sobering moment, right? To just kind of reframe how we think about things. And it reminds me that there's a spectrum of different types of mummies, different types of women, different types of parents, and our experiences will inform our decisions. Right. So for you, like your difficult experience with the miscarriage means that you're filled with gratitude now. So you have actually more capacity to deal with the fatigue, but also the fact that you have a bit more flexibility at work. Right. I think that's quite helpful. I remember I after my maternity, I went back to work. So 6:30, I hand my babies off to my helper, and then I sleep, and then 7:10 I wake up, and then I need to palm, I need to prepare, I need to go to work with my coffee.
I think it's tough. Like I see, because I have friends that are working now preparing for kids. I always tell them like I don't think I can be you. Like I don't think I can be this smiley if I'm you. It's gonna be so so tough. Like right now when I wake up, I feel like I'm so thankful I don't need to shower, I don't need to get ready, I don't need to put makeup, I don't need to get out of the house in this cold weather. I can just stay inside the whole day, and I can sleep when my baby sleep later. So I think it's just very different, and I also really respect working moms.
I think parenthood often forces us to understand ourselves on a deeper level, like on our vulnerabilities, on our capabilities, on our trigger points.
I love that.
And I think it's a journey that actually helps us become a better version of ourselves. And for that, I'm grateful for it too.
Yes, of course, for myself as well.
I think that was a really invigorating chat for me, Jeanette, because I'm kind of really influenced by your positivity, and it really reminds me that no matter how difficult the circumstances are and how isolating sometimes parenthood can be, I think it's really what's from within, right? How we perceive the situation and how we react to that. That's very much within our control. And even if there's a deficit of traditional support systems in place, we can also find non-traditional forms that work for us. And a social media online community that is healthy and helpful can be one of them. And I think the other thing that really struck me is there's really no perfect parenting, right? No perfect way or one correct way. I think sometimes we can be overwhelmed by the stresses, but please remember, even a reminder to myself is to enjoy the moment, to live in the moment, right? And to take what it is, and then one thing at a time. I wonder if you have anything to share with the audience, like any takeaway messages that you might want to share.
Whatever we say about motherhood, even if you are a guy that come across this video, I think you can sort of apply it to life, that every life is different, and no matter what you go through, I always tell myself that there will always be another day. I mean, I don't think I was depressed, but I told myself, if I wake up tomorrow breathing, means I have to live another day. So it is my choice to make it a good day or a bad day. And then of course, it's okay to have a bad day. Like in my social media and my platforms, I always want to reach out and tell people that it's okay to be sad, it's okay to be angry, it's okay to be down and stuff like that. But always, take pride in yourself that you are still like alive, breathing, and you can do something to make a change in that day. And of course, to the mothers out there like us, I guess everybody is struggling, but you're not alone. And I feel that community in itself really plays a very big part in helping us get through what the toughest journey of life lah. Basically motherhood, and parenting also is one of it. So I just want to wish everyone who is watching this, you're not alone, you can do it. If Annabelle and I can do it, you also can do it. So thank you so much.
Wow, we need more content like this, Jeanette. Yeah, I mean, I wish I had that content when I was a mummy. I always tell people, it takes a village to raise children, but I think it takes a village to raise mummies as well. In a very nice way, you are creating a village for all your friends and, followers, both in Korea and in different parts of the world. And I am grateful to have met you and have this chat.
It's my honor also to hear so much from you, to learn from a senior mommy.
Oh my god, senior mommy sounds so old. Thank you so much, Jeanette. Annyeong!
Annyeong!